What's up, people? What's good? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. Another breaking episode out there. As of this morning, some crazy bad news for Draken fans. Draken is now off the starting NiP roster as Dennis is now back after his short month, his 1 month break to kind of re-energize. He was having fatigue issues. He is now back in their starting roster, which means the ultimate bad news for anyone out there who is a Draken fan, as well as a Chaos Legion fan. You know, Scream, Existence, those guys who have now had that roster for a few months' time, or actually officially had that roster under Chaos Legion for a short amount of time. They played back together though 2 to 3 months ago with Draken. They eventually dropped Draken because who can blame the guy for trying to pick up an NiP offer in just 1 month? And reportedly as well, they've actually signed Draken throughout the end of 2019. That does mean as well post next major, he's going to be under buyout. It does seem, as reported by at least. So we're going to see how this actually does work out. This is the worst of both worlds, okay? Yes, NiP fans, I don't think Draken, besides the opening match with NiP, was a standout player. I think he was a solid player and still a very good awper and still a very good talent out there, but he is now locked under NiP control. So unless you're NiP organization, great power move by you. It's the worst of both worlds for other fans out there, right? Draken, you can't actually blame him for trying to take an NiP offer. He doesn't even get to play with NiP, but even worse for worse, Chaos Legion, Scream and team, they don't even get to use Draken either because he has a buyout that they can't afford. Oh, it's just like the worst thing, dude. Like, why? This has always happened to players out there. Players just, it's just unfortunate to see, and it seems like NiP has been doing this, right? They've had a bunch of stand-in players that you like, and then you don't see them again, all right? I can name 3 off the top of my head. Disco Dope Doppelin, and then we also had Michael, and now Draken has become an NiP stand-in fated player to never play for NiP full-time. It's sucky to see. Congrats, Dennis, being back, okay? I think they're going to much be welcome back. The team seemed excited to have him back. He seemed energized after a month break. Overall situation, though, makes me bummed out. But what does not bum me out there, actually the opposite of our first story out there, kind of a win-win situation unless you're a Gratisfaction fan. Okay, it's a win-win situation for a guy like Smooya. I'll explain in a bit here. That being Gratisfaction, unfortunately enough, for this season of ESO Pro League, or probably going to be a majority of it, if not all of it, despite maybe if they make grand finals, he could actually be back for the remainder of the ESO Pro League season. For the first round, though, if you guys remember, ESO Pro League now under new rules, they actually have 2 rounds before finals. So different qualification process, and both rounds are actually on LAN as well. So on top of that, Gratisfaction having visa issues, they have now added Smooya of all people to the roster. I can't even say that without smiling a little bit, you know? Our last episode of CSGO Talk, we talked about Smooya, who would sign him. This is a temporary signing, okay? No one's trying to pretend against that. It's a temporary signing, but it's the best of both worlds because, that being Renegades, they pick up one of the better available oppers, arguably, and also on top of that, great news for Smooya, a free agent who now gets to prove himself on Renegades, one of the most up-and-coming teams since late 2018, one of the most rising teams out there as well. He gets to prove himself as a free agent to other teams out there who might want to sign him permanently. I think it's a great addition to the roster. I think he'll hopefully fit the roles they want for him because we know he can be a bit particular about the roles he does want to play. But all in all, besides Gratisfaction, Mr. Mustache Man, I do feel bad for him. He will be back though. He still has a spot in the roster. It's a best of best situation for Renegades and who they picked up, and Smooya and the chance he gets to prove himself even further. I never would have guessed a German player to be on an Aussie roster. And then very lastly, I think going to be a big story coming very soon because later today we should have an explanation from Syman Gaming. If you guys do not remember Syman Gaming, well, I've talked about them a couple times on this show as well, all the way back to when they actually had iDisbalance. It was during a DreamHack Winter Qualifier. This team was accused of using cheats. Ironically enough, now we have just months later, it's actually Syman Gaming calling out Unicorns of Love, who many teams have actually started to question, and they called them out on Twitter of all things. Now I will say one thing, guys, it's not professional whatsoever to call out a team on Twitter, okay? But to be fair, teams have done it to Syman Gaming. It was actually North and Space Soldiers and maybe even AGO who all took to Twitter to say pretty much that Syman Gaming was cheating back in the day, where they were actually never proven to be cheating. So I understand where they're coming from this sense, as well as apparently they have some other explanations out there. At the very least, it was actually Syman with a follow-up tweet saying their very own coach today, I will make sure to touch on this tomorrow, guys, once it does happen. Today, their coach will be live streaming the evidence as to why they think Unicorns of Love is actually cheating. Pretty freaking crazy story if you ask me. On top of that, Unicorns of Love also directly responding to their first tweet about this, calling them out, saying it's very unprofessional to do so. And ironically enough, we all know, speaking of professional, Unicorns of Love, you know, in the Nox Fire League, they have been the exact opposite of professional. So we will see what happens, and even further than this, a current Unicorns of Love member, that being Marky, has been accused several times in the past. No one can even draw up clips or draw up evidence of this, but he has been accused several times. People brought this to me, people brought this to Reddit, people brought this to HLTV forums. He is well known as a player who is particularly in the past potentially been thought of as a cheater out there as well. So we will see. There's other screenshots out there showing some very sketchy results, stretching from one event to the other, and all of a sudden in Nox Fire League, the Unicorns of Love players are doing very, very well compared to how they usually do. There's a lot of stuff out there. We'll wait to see Syman's explanation. What they did was not professional, but I'm still excited to see what evidence they have against Unicorns of Love, because it could get a little interesting. But as always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. If you guys want to leave a comment down below, what do you think of the stories today? It has been a pretty crazy day so far, a very fun day as well, covering just all these esports stories out there. Just a lot of drama going on. So hope you guys all enjoy. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Drink coffee, drink lemonade, drink whatever you want, as long as it's legal. Okay, see ya.